Hey guys, what's going on? I'm back with another video. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Hope your Wednesday's going all right. So it's that time of the week again where I go through all the football games that are going on this week, tell you my picks, predictions, who I think is going to win, and kind of go through all of that. So I think up to this point, my track record's actually been like kind of, it's not scary accurate, but it's been pretty accurate for the most part. Like upsets I thought were going to happen, happened. All sorts of stuff. So it's, I don't know, we're going pretty good. We're into week 5 now, so we'll keep chugging here. All right, so first game, tomorrow night, Thursday night game, New England Patriots at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the New England Patriots, up until this point, I think are one of several teams that have not lived up to expectations. And so, for instance, like, you know, the Giants are 0-4, just things nobody thought was going to happen. Now, I don't put the Patriots in that category, but their defense is garbage. It is, first of all, it's last in the league in every category: points, yards, rushing yards, pass yards. I mean, it's at least points in total yards. It's bad. It is really bad. The Pats offense, on the other hand, is fine. It's, you know, like it usually is every year. But the defense, man, it is bad. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, on the other hand, are a team that I really liked after last season. I thought that they really show you something after last season. I thought Jameis Winston is a really good quarterback. I think they've got, you know, good enough weapons to you know, week by week put out a, you know, performance that's you know, un-Buccaneers, if I can say that. You know, because they haven't always been the strongest team. But they're, you know, I thought they were emerging coming into this season. Now it seems like, you know, 2-1. I mean, they did you know, miss a game. They missed week 1 because of the hurricane, of course. But I don't know. They don't seem quite as strong as last season, just, you know, as far as the eye test goes. But, you know, by all objective measures, they're still a really good football team. So, really, this doesn't have much to do with the Buccaneers. I know the Buccaneers are a good team. It has to do with the Patriots. So, really, going into this season, you thought, oh, win, right? You know, everybody would think the Patriots are going to win this game. But the way their defense has been playing, it's really... You know, I really don't know what it is. I mean, I think they got Stephon Gilmore, I think he was a free agent. They signed him as a free agent from Buffalo, and he sucks. This guy sucks. He's been awful, and I say that because I've watched the film, as they were doing like a breakdown of it, where they showed, you know, kind of like the all 22 footage, everybody on the field, and you can see. In the game against Carolina last week, what is this reading about Carolina now? I mean, Cam Newton said something pretty bad. Yeah, you're right. I hate Cam. Well, I don't hate him, but guy's got a bad attitude. Anyways, so getting off topic. But if you look at the plays, like Carolina did, you know, like these pitch tosses or screens, and Gilmore would just give up his, like, just see something on the other side of the field, run over there, and just and nobody's covering his guy, like time and time again. It's, everybody says it's communication, or, you know, he's not learning the system. I don't really get it. I don't see. It's like, you know, he's the type of player who I think he's a great corner if you just say, hey, Gilmore, see him, go cover him. You know what I mean? Like, then he's fine, but I don't know if it's a system or, I mean, the Bills. He would get torched every now and then. You know, he was playing for the Bills, I do remember. And, you know, but the Bills system, their defense, which is much improved this season. They just beat the Falcons last week. We'll get to that. You know, I don't know. You could say he didn't get it there. I mean, that was complicated to begin with, but he's just, I don't know what the Patriots saw in him to give him, like, was it like 13 million or 30 something million guaranteed, 13 million a year or something like that. And he's been awful. But other than that, I don't know why the Patriots defense is as bad as it is, because everybody else on the defense, for the most part, is the same. Like, all the key players there. I mean, you know, I forget what his name was. It was like one of their cornerbacks. Forgetting the name, but he left, I think, in free agency. Then they had Chris Long left, but I mean, those were not. Hold on. Logan Ryan. I just looked it up. Logan Ryan was the guy's name. I mean, those were not transformational players at all. I mean, and so overall, I thought that they improved, you know, quite a bit. And they didn't really lose anybody. Nobody's hurt. I don't really get it. I think it's simple to straighten out, I would think, because it's just one guy's not covering. And it seems like it's just kind of a communication, learning the playbook situation with that. And once they get that, I mean, the reason why I'm not so hard on New England is because they do this every year. And every year they start, and this is defense isn't that good, or this is, there's a problem here, injury there. And then, a few months from now, they're, be talking about, they'll be in the Super Bowl. So that's always how it goes with them. This defense kind of stinks at the beginning, and then they're in the Super Bowl. So you really can't. I mean, I want to say this is a loss, but it's the Patriots. Like they've been in the AFC Championship game for like 6 straight years or 7 years straight. No other team in sports, maybe outside like the Warriors or the Cavaliers or whatever, is that consistently dominant. I mean, it's unbelievable. So if history tells us anything, they're going to figure this out. So I'm really not too hard on them about it, but their defense is atrocious. It's awful. So anyways, that's kind of what's going on. And that's really one of the biggest, the reason I'm going on for so long with this is really one of the biggest stories in the league. I think there's like 2 or 3, and that's one of them. So going into this game, and the other thing is the Patriots are on a short week. So this is, I think, is Tampa Bay on a short? I assume so. Usually when you play on Thursday night, you're on a short week. So short week, bad loss, bad defense. I really want to give this to Tampa Bay, except I don't think if the Patriots are still the Patriots, all of a sudden guys will start friggin' bouncing off of, jumping over field goals. Like they'll figure out. I got the Patriots winning this game, but it's an ugly win. The defense, it'll be a little bit better. They'll do just barely what they need to do to get out of there with the win, and then they'll have 10 days off to, kind of get their act together. But I got like Patriots 30, Buccaneers 25. Or, well, hold on, man. It's hard to get 24. So that's what I got for this. All right, next game. That took forever. Next game, I'm going to Sunday. Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals. I got Buffalo winning this game. The Buffalo Bills. Actually, no, golf clap. Buffalo Bills, their defensive system now has been overhauled for this season, shutting down the Falcons, who were undefeated, high-powered, very fast, very explosive, guys flying around the field. They just shut them down. Well, not shut them down, but they slowed them down and they won last week. So that's, there's no points to be taken off there. That's a legit team that was undefeated, weapons, high-powered offense, fast, tall receivers, and they stopped them. I think that's legit. They're a legit team. Look, they're not going to going to be like a playoff contender or anything like that. But yeah, I can see this team 10-6, 11-5, for sure. It's a vastly improved team from the Bills teams of the last many years. So that's and also the Bengals blow. So on account of those reasons there, I'm going to go in and give this to the Buffalo Bills. Next thing, New York. Oh, good. How is this a game? The New York Jets and the Cleveland Browns. I mean, who do the New York Jets have? What player? They cut everybody. They're trying to tank, obviously, to get a high draft picks next year. And the Jets are so bad that they fail at doing that. Somehow they're 2-2. They got rid of everybody, beginning of the season, like last in all the power rankings. And somehow they screw up the tanking and they're 2-2. Cleveland Browns still 0-4. I don't know how. I thought they made some adjustments. I thought they got some players. And they still suck. So I'm giving this to the Cleveland Browns just because I don't believe in that's like a phony. It's like the Patriots. The Patriots and the Jets have the same record, both 2-2, but there's a difference, obviously, and because of that, I'm gonna give this to the Browns just because I think they're gonna win it. I mean, they're not as bad as last season, right? I mean, they were like 25th in power. I mean, it still sucks, but I mean, they're better than the Jets, so I'm giving this to the Browns. Next game up, Carolina Panthers, Detroit Lions. I got Detroit win this game. Carolina only won last weekend because the Patriots defense was so atrocious. Cam Newton, who I guess he said something offensive just now that's just popped up. I don't like Cam Newton. I mean, he's just cocky, bad attitude. I mean, honestly, I loved him going up against the Denver defense because it's just the just two polar opposites, right? Flashy, cocky. You know, I remember that season they were like taking selfies on the sideline and all this stuff, posing. You know, always, grinning and just not taking, not diving on the fumble in the Super Bowl. Just all of that. I really don't like that. Whereas, like, the Broncos defense in Super Bowl 50, just tough, hard-nosed, legit defense. Von Miller, the whole shebang. So, I don't know. I don't really have a lot of sympathy for Cam, especially saying something like he said today, which is pretty offensive. So, I don't. That's my stance on Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers. I really do not care for that team. And then they're playing Detroit, Matt Stafford, highest paid by far player, not only quarterback, but player in the NFL. Massive contract in the offseason. And they've looked good. Now, I know Detroit, just chronically chokes, just cannot seem to have a playoff run. It's been, many, many years now since they've had that. But they've looked good. They look like a contender. They really do. NFC North, I mean, going up against the Packers and the Vikings, who, the Vikings quarterback situation is unbelievable when you think about it. Teddy Bridgewater, I know he's been on injury reserve. Like, did he die? Is he, like, what is going on with him? I know he had a bad leg injury, but out 2 years with it? I mean, whatever. And then the starter goes down, and I don't know what's going on, but their defense is legit. And so kind of playing up against them and the Packers in the NFC North, I think makes you a tougher team as opposed to playing the NFC South, where you've got such travesties as the Saints defense. The Falcons, who, my prediction's been you're not hearing from that team again. That's after you don't come back from that Super Bowl loss, losing the way that they did. So, and then who else? Then you get the Buccaneers. I mean, yeah, I got much more faith in Detroit than I do in Carolina. So I got Detroit winning this game. Next game, San Francisco 49ers, Indianapolis Colts. Two garbage teams. I mean, the 49ers suck. The Colts suck. But the Colts, these are the Colts, first of all, have won a game. And second of all, the quarterback, what's Jacoby there? Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett. They got traded for, I think it was the backup to the backup for New England, who he can... I mean, he's not I guess he's not Russell Wilson of a few years ago. He's not Jameis Winston. I guess that's the more current example, because Wilson and Cam are, kind of, seems like they're, on the back nine. Well, Russell Wilson, he's still, I don't know. Their better days are behind them. But, he's not, Deshaun Watson or Jameis Winston, but he's got legs and he's got a cannon for an arm, and I think that's enough to beat the 49ers. Next game up, Miami Dolphins, Tennessee Titans. So, Miami, like the Buccaneers, didn't play week 1, so that's why they're like short a game here. But I guess they'll catch up eventually. That really sucks, not playing week 1 and then having your bye in week 1 and then having to play like 16 consecutive games. That's really bad. But yeah, I got the Dolphins win this game. I really don't have a lot of faith in Tennessee. They're just, all right, so Jay Cutler is the quarterback. All right, fine. Tennessee's going to win this game just because Jay Cutler, good God, whatever. So, anyways, next game up here, we've got the just a tale of two 0-4 teams. The LA Chargers, they're the San Diego. I'm calling them the San Diego Chargers. Freaking LA Chargers. Chargers and the New York Football 0-4 Giants. I thought the Giants would be really good this season, building off of last season and their, in their defense. But so here's what it is: they've got no offensive line. Like, you could set up traffic cones in front of Eli Manning, and it would be better than that O-line. No running game, really. So basically, Eli's on his back the whole game, just getting, the whole game, just getting drilled. And really that's all there is to it, folks, because if you can't run and you're one-dimensional and you have to pass and your O-line is a disaster, well, then there's really you can't score. That's just what it is. You can't win like that. So, And then the Chargers, on the other hand, they play in the AFC West. Obviously not as good as the Chiefs and Denver and Oakland and you know, Derek Carr. Hurt again. You know, good Raiders. I guess that's just what happens to the Raiders. I mean, they got great fans. They don't deserve that. But yeah, anyways, the Chargers, they're not quite up there with those teams. And so it's just a tale of two 0-4 teams. You could go either way with this. I think I'm going to give this to the Giants just because, you know, they have to win. They're better than 0-4. They're way better than 0-4. They got to win. I mean, there's so much. And the other thing is, the other reason I'm giving this to them is because the New York Giants, New York media market, you know, just a classic bandwagon team. There's so much pressure, so many, you know, if you think about just sports media in general, ESPN loves the Giants, even when they're 0-4, all they want to talk about is the Giants. You know what I mean? Which is just tells you everything you know about ESPN. Really not I could go off about ESPN for an hour, but that's not what this video is about. And so with all the pressure on them, they gotta fix something. You know what I mean? Like they gotta, you know, they have to put something together here. So I got them winning this game, but I think the Chargers will win a few games and make a comeback here. So, anyways, all right, next game: Arizona Cardinals, Philadelphia Eagles. Actually, golf clap. Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles. Carson Wentz is legit. Eagles are one of my favorite teams. You know, just kind of historically, and you know, I guess not the last few years, but I've always liked the Eagles, and it seems like they're back. I mean, they showed you, you know, I don't want to say last season was a flash in the pan because then they kind of choked towards the end. But building off of Carson Wentz and putting weapons around him and having a defense who, by all objective measures, is pretty darn good. The Eagles have turned it around. The Eagles 3, and I know it's only, you know, going to week 5, they're 3-1. But that's something, you know, playing in the NFC East, you know, against playing such teams as the Cowboys. By the way, I think the best team in the NFC East is the Redskins. I don't care. I mean, the Redskins have competed on a consistent basis with really good teams and have won games. And the Cowboys have just these chronic problems, it seems like. Just these, I don't want to call them breakdowns, but just not being able to finish, I guess. And then we know the Giants, we just talked about them. And I think the Redskins are in. So competing in that division, 3-1, you know, good for them because they've sucked for a long time and their fans are really devoted. So good for them. Cardinals, on the other hand, you got, you know, the ghost of Carson Palmer. You got Larry Fitzgerald, Larry Fitzgerald's one of my all-time favorite players. I mean, it's if you know about him and his personal situation, just kind of, you know, when he was younger. Great story overcoming all of that stuff, and still in 2017, he was drafted in 2013, so it's like a 14-year career about we're going on. He's still making unbelievable plays. I think the play he made the other night, I don't know if this was the last game, it might have been a week before. That's the last time I watched them. Like he ran out over the middle, cut to the left to the sideline. Ball's about to be picked off. He just stuck out a hand and just swiped it away from another guy and came down with it. You know, had the ball land over his forearm and between, you know, so his forearm's over the ground, ball between the forearm and the upper body to keep it, you know, a live ball. Just doing unbelievable things. And it's a shame that, you know, they can't seem to. I mean, they showed you something, you know, in the playoffs, you know, a couple seasons ago, and then, you know, just kind of fell apart from there. And the Eagles are good, so I got the Eagles winning this game. Eagles are. I'm not gonna say it's a playoff run because it's, you know, we got a long way to go. But yeah, Eagles are legit. I got the Eagles winning this game. Next game up, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, Pittsburgh Steelers. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers winning. We don't even really talk about it. Other than the fact that the Steelers have a few games every year where they just don't show up, which they had one of those, as you know, 3-1. Jacksonville's 2-2, and they'll continue to have more. They're just gonna do Mike Tomlin things. Like whenever I'm talking to other people about the Steelers, they just do Mike Tomlin stuff. Excuse me, like just, you know, playing the same defense that, you know, they always, like for instance, going up against New England, they always lose. I think they've only won once or twice in the Tomlin era against the Patriots. Early, well, I guess the Roethlisberger era. I guess I think he's only, that's, and it's because of the defense, but they just go out and they do the same thing. They say, okay, we're gonna hand off to Bell, hand off to Bell, hand off to Bell. Deep bomb to Brown, deep bomb to Brown. Just the same Mike Tomlin stuff that they do. And so that kind of, they can only go so far like that. But that's far enough to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Next game up, by the way, speaking of other teams that are coming out of nowhere, like the Eagles and the Bills, LA Rams are 3-1. Holy cow. And they've been putting up some points. Now, again, don't get ahead of yourself, all right? Seahawks are 2-2. Rams are 3-1. This is the 4 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday is when this game is. Two NFC West Coast teams. I mean, I'm giving this to the Rams. The Rams have been playing. They've been putting up points. Seahawks, on the other hand, can't seem to really do it. I don't know what. First of all, it's their offensive line. The problem with the Seahawks is the same problem as the Giants. Great defense, no offensive line, pretty, crummy. You can't even really criticize the running game. If the offensive line sucks, the offense sucks because you can't really run because they can't create gaps. They can't buy time, and once they know you're one-dimensional and can't run, you have to wait for guys to get open. Offensive line can't buy the quarterback the time. He gets sacked, he gets hit, he gets beat up. Then if he's hurt or, not playing at 100%, everything just goes downhill from there when your offensive line is a disaster. So that's kind of what's going on with the Seahawks. Rams are 3-1. I don't see a reason to bet against the Rams. The Seahawks are a team where I think everybody thinks about the Seahawks and thinks of like the 2013 Seahawks, which they are not. They are no longer at that status. So, anyways, next game up: Baltimore Ravens, Oakland Raiders. Derek Carr's not playing. Baltimore needs to save face and start winning games after getting completely embarrassed in London. Both teams are 2-2. I got Baltimore winning this game. Next game up: Green Bay Packers, Dallas Cowboys. So here's the thing. Green Bay Packers are the ultimate bandwagon team. Just the most bandwagon. Of course you can make an argument that there's other bandwagon teams. Just the whole go Pack, go Aaron Rodgers. Look, the biggest change that they've made going into the season is, well, first of all, reloading, getting Aaron Rodgers some new weapons. I think Martellus Bennett was one of the weapons people are most excited about, just giving him a stocky tight end. Martellus Bennett, I'm sorry, is not good. He's really, I'm not a Martellus Bennett fan. I don't know if it's just maybe it's just the way he runs or the way he doesn't even run. Like, just the way this guy moves just looks lazy. I don't know what it is. Just the way he runs, like he doesn't finish plays sometimes, but the way he moves, it's just kind of like, like just, that's how I don't know what it is. He's just got this like lazy body language. He drops a lot of passes. But irregardless of that, the biggest change, the most important change I think the Packers have made going into the season is having the right attitude. Aaron Rodgers saying repeatedly, no, we gotta win. You can't wait till you're halfway done with the regular season to decide to show up. Like last season, you're having to win out to go to the playoffs, and just that attitude adjustment I think is what's helped them out the most. Whereas the Cowboys have offense, defense, special teams. The kicker, Dan Bailey, running game, Ezekiel Elliott, who may not get suspended any day. Dak Prescott, their offensive line is amazing. Receiver, they've got everything. They've got it all. But still, this is a team, I talked about Mike Tomlin things. This is a team that does Jerry Jones things, if you catch my drift. So just making bum decisions at the wrong time. They just implode. That's what they do. That's why they've had no success in the playoffs for many years. But I got Dallas winning this game. Dallas, since they're also in the NFC East, which is another team that ESPN and the national sports media just obsesses over for some annoying reason. The pressure that's on that team, it's like they can't really hide what's wrong with them. So I feel like they'll win. I think they're going to win this game. So next game, we have Kansas City Chiefs, Houston Texans. Right off the bat, I got Houston Texans winning this game. Kansas City went down to the last few seconds to win against the Redskins. Air started to come out of that balloon. Andy Reid does Andy Reid things. I got to stop saying that, but you get the idea. Just clock man. He just doesn't. I have all the respect in the world for Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. One of my favorite teams. Because that is there's no, That's a team. Offense, defense, special teams, coaching, everything about it, up and down. I mean, they've had a few injuries and, some bumps along the way. But across the board, not golf clap, like real clap for the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid. I love that team. Just a stout, physical defense, powerful offense, Tyreek Hill, everything. The whole team is a great team. But air's starting to come out of that balloon. Almost lost to the Redskins. Probably could have lost. It came down to a kick. At the end of that game on Monday night, I believe that was, to win. And the Texans defense is scary. It is scary, and Deshaun Watson's legit. And so I think that Houston's defense can, without a doubt, slow down Kansas City's offense. So what it turns into is a question of, can Kansas City's defense beat Houston's offense? That's really what we're looking at here. This is going to be a close game. I think that, it really just comes down to that, and it comes down to it's a shootout is what this game's going to be. It's going to be a shootout. And I feel like Houston's going to win. They've got their defense is playing too well. It's too good. It's too scary. Bringing pressure, everything on that defense is really good. And I feel like Kansas City, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So I feel like they're bound to lose here. So I got the Texans winning this game. Last but not, you make that determination for yourself. Last game, Monday night, Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears. Vikings are winning this game. Bears aren't much. And so I got Minnesota, and it's Minnesota's defense is what's going to win this game. So that's what I got. All right, guys, what's going to do for this video? Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please leave a like, comment, share, that sort of thing. Next Wednesday, we'll be back with Week 6 picks. So I'll see you then. But other than that, until next time, that's going to do for this one, guys. Thanks for watching.